Good morning. Welcome to Monday's edition of Everything Yesterday This Morning. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. Moms, I hope you had a great Mother's Day, kicked your feet up. Or if you love your motherly duties, kick that in a gear as well. Let's get to it. All the screaming harpies took to the airwaves this weekend. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand said yesterday that multiple Supreme Court justices lied in their confirmation hearings about abortion, echoing the statements of Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins in the wake of the leak of the draft of a Supreme Court opinion. 4 justices in the last hearings I've witnessed have said that precedent matters, and that precedent is the foundation of our legal system. And so if they just feel they can upend this precedent because they don't like it today, well, that's inconsistent with what they promised. Lisa Murkowski said that she felt betrayed by what she saw in the draft opinion. If this leaked draft opinion is the final decision and this reporting is accurate, it would be completely inconsistent with what Justice Gorsuch and Kavanaugh said in their hearings and in our meetings in my office. Forgive me while I laugh my ass off because welcome to being disappointed by people in government not doing what they say they'll do. Without interjecting my opinion too much into this entire conversation, there are a few clarifying things I'd like to note. First of all, the only precedent in this country that should be recognized is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The 10th Amendment explicitly says the owers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Roe v. Wade was legislation from the bench of the Supreme Court, and as such, it is a breach of the 10th Amendment and a violation of the separation of powers. Not to mention, the 14th Amendment says that no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. But that's beside the point. Second, Congress has had the opportunity to ratify abortion into law legitimately because their job is to pass laws. It's literally their only job, and they haven't done it. And finally, this does nothing to abortion. If in your state you currently can abort your baby, you can still abort your baby. In California, for example, abortion is legal until the baby is viable, which is between 24 and 28 weeks. Guess what? You'll still be able to abort your 6-month-old baby after this decision because the state of California says you can. In New York, you can abort your baby until it's 6 months old or 24 weeks as well. This does not change. All of these people distorting this decision into this hysterical madness of, oh my God, I need to wear fake blood-covered hangers around my neck, especially politicians. These people showing up at Supreme Court members' homes should be ashamed of themselves, either for being willfully ignorant or worse, intentionally misleading. Elon Musk took to Twitter on Friday to offer a sense of what his vision for the social media platform after the acquisition goes through looks like, also offering a sense of what employees can expect with regard to work life under his leadership. He posted a screenshot of an article that said, quote, job interest in Twitter skyrocketed more than 250% since Elon Musk moved to take over. But current employees are nervous. Yeah, if I was involved with suppressing the voices of 50% of the country and my new boss was a free speech absolutist, I'd be pretty nervous too. Musk's statement said, if Twitter acquisition completes, the company will be super focused on hardcore software engineering, design, infosec, and server hardware. Managers in software must write great software, or it's like being a cavalry captain who can't ride a horse. Also, work ethic expectations will be extreme, but much less than I demand of myself. This is the same man who slept on the floor of the Tesla plant because he wanted to suffer more than any other employee during the production ramp up for the Model 3. Wishing all the best to those soft ass employees worried about being held accountable. Jill Biden made an unannounced visit to Western Ukraine on Sunday, holding a surprise Mother's Day meeting with the nation's First Lady, Olena Zelenska, as Russia presses its punishing war in the eastern regions. Biden traveled under the cloak of secrecy, becoming the latest high profile American to enter Ukraine during its 10-week-old conflict with Russia. Maybe she took some baskets of cookies like she did at the border. I'm sorry, that was rude. I wanted to come on Mother's Day. I thought it was important to show the Ukrainian people that this war has to stop and this war has been brutal and that the people of the United States stand with the people of Ukraine. The visit allowed Biden to conduct the kind of personal diplomacy that her husband would like to be doing himself. Biden said during his visit to Poland in March that he was disappointed he could not visit Ukraine to see conditions firsthand, but that he was not allowed, likely due to security reasons. Jill Biden's visit follows recent stops in the war-torn country by old vodka jaws herself, Nancy Pelosi, and other members of Congress, as well as Antony Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. Her visit was limited to Western Ukraine. Russia is concentrating its military power in eastern Ukraine, and she was not in any harm's way. This is nothing new, however. Many sitting first ladies have also traveled to war and conflict zones, which should tell you something about American foreign policy. Eleanor Roosevelt visited servicemen abroad during World War II. Pat Nixon traveled with Richard Nixon on his 1969 trip to South Vietnam. She was actually the first lady to visit a combat zone as she flew 18 miles away from Saigon in an open helicopter accompanied by Secret Service agents. Hillary Clinton visited a combat zone in Bosnia in 1996 where she lied and said bullets were flying over her head. Laura Bush went to Kabul, and Melania Trump accompanied Donald Trump to Iraq in 2018. If North Korea was looking for another excuse to forge ahead with its nuclear weapons program, it just found one in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That one of the very few countries to have voluntarily given up a nuclear arsenal is under attack from the same country it gave its warheads to will not be lost on Pyongyang. In fact, analysts say Moscow's actions have gifted North Korea with a perfect storm of conditions under which to ramp up its program. Not only will North Korea use Ukraine's plight to bolster its narrative that it needs nukes to guarantee its survival, but Kim Jong-un may find that with all eyes on the war in Europe, he can get away with more now than ever. Divided over Ukraine, the international community will likely have little appetite for sanctions on the Hermit Kingdom. Indeed, even unified condemnation of recent North Korean ICBM tests remains elusive. What's more, the boycott of Russian oil and gas could even open the door to cut price energy deals between Pyongyang and Moscow. On Saturday, North Korea held its 14th missile launch of the year, up from 4 tests in 2020 and just 8 in 2021. One test, mind you, as I mentioned before, was an ICBM that is capable of hitting the mainland United States. Commercial satellite images suggest that Pyongyang is trying to restore access to its underground testing site, and U.S. officials believe that North Korea could be ready to resume nuclear testing later this month. Keep a lookout, friends. A non-political story for you. Nepali mountaineer Kami Rita Sherpa made history Saturday after summiting Mount Everest for the 26th time. Sherpa was already a world record holder, having broken the record for summiting Everest 5 times in 4 years. On Saturday, the 52-year-old guide broke the previous world record of 25 ascents, which he set last May. Kamirita has set and broken the world record for Everest ascents almost every spring for the past 4 years. It's possible that he could have achieved an even higher summit number had it not been for COVID, because Nepal and China both canceled the 2020 climbing season. He didn't make it to the top on his first attempt in 1992. He did, however, finish the climb 2 years later. His life has been tied to the mountains since he was a child. His father, Mingma Chershing Sherpa, was one of the first professional guides on Everest when Nepal began allowing international climbers in 1950. Kamirita had worked as a porter, transporting gear to Everest Base Camp since he was 12 years old. The first people on record to conquer the mountain were New Zealand mountaineer Edmund Hillary and his Nepali partner Tenzing Norgay in 1953. Several thousand have now summited Everest in the nearly 70 years since. The mountain has also claimed the lives of over 300 adventure seekers. The same day Kamirita broke his record, Russian climber Pavel Kostraikin died at Camp 1 Saturday night, marking the second death of the season. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres accepted the resignation of the head of a UN agency under investigation for potentially losing millions of dollars in bad investments. Greta Ferrermo, the executive director of the UN Office of Project Services, so UNOPS, submitted her resignation Sunday after the New York Times published an article detailing how the agency may lose up to $25 million meant for aid for developing countries. The UN Watchdog Office of Internal Oversight Services has been investigating possible misconduct at UN Ops concerning its sustainable infrastructure investments and innovation initiative that's designed to help address the two issues of financing and innovation in connection to achieving the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. If that sounds like a word salad to you, it is. The amount of government programs and organizations in this world that are wildly useless and unnecessary will never cease to amaze me. The Times reported that UN Ops has given tens of millions of dollars to a British man whose businesses have defaulted on more than $22 million in loans. In a statement from mid-April, UN Ops said it, quote, accepts their challenges with its initiative. No fucking shit. And that funds are at risk, but none to date have been lost. UN Ops will pursue all available legal remedies to protect its operations and assets, including the recovery of outstanding payments owed to UN Ops. We are committed to a rigorous and comprehensive process to address any possible misconduct and maladministration claims, and will hold all persons responsible to account. I wonder how much of that money came from U.S. taxpayers. Questions with answers we'll never know. Okay, last one of the day. This one quietly slipped past me, and I'm really sorry I missed it. After seeing a screenshot that was sent to me on Twitter, I did some digging. And so this information is from April 29th, but it's still pertinent, so I needed to share it with you guys. Ghislaine Maxwell lost a bid to overturn her conviction on sex trafficking charges. In a written ruling, U.S. Circuit Judge Allison Nathan upheld the guilty verdict on 3 of the 5 accounts, including sex trafficking, for which she was convicted, saying that the jury's verdict was supported by witness testimony and evidence presented at trial. Nathan rejected the guilty verdicts. Nathan rejected the guilty verdicts reached on 2 of the counts, potentially reducing Maxwell's sentence. Nathan said 3 of the charges effectively covered the same offense, so only upheld 1 of those 3 guilty verdicts. This legal conclusion, this is a quote from Nathan. This legal conclusion in no way calls into question the factual findings made by the jury. Rather, It underscores that the jury unanimously found 3 times over that the defendant is guilty of conspiring with Epstein to entice, transport, and traffic underage girls for sexual abuse. She was convicted on 5 of 6 charges at trial. This reduces her maximum possible sentence faced by 10 years to 55 years behind bars. Maxwell's sentencing hearing, barring no further attempts to appeal, is set for June 28th. I am trying my hardest to keep an eye on this because nobody wants anything to be heard about this. I am disappointed that 10 years was shaved off of her convictions. If the charges were found guilty, then all 3 should still stand. But I'm not a judge. I don't understand the law. I just understand she's a horrible human. That is your Monday edition of Everything Yesterday This Morning. I love you guys. I hope, again, that you had a good weekend. I hope you have a good Monday. I will see you guys tomorrow.